Hello, everyone. This is Catherine Wagner. I'm a social worker at the Wellness Collaborative in Guelph, Ontario, and I'd like to talk today about safety and grounding. And first, we're going to do the hand sanitizer because that's what we do now. And it makes me feel safer when I have good hand sanitizer. And I know that about myself. So I always make sure I don't leave the house without hand sanitizer. And I'm going to talk about safety in general. And I was inspired over the weekend by reading some of Sandra Bloom's old research. Some of it's 20 years old now, some of her papers, and I'm so delighted to realize that her writing still stands true and it is reflective of best practice all these years later. And it inspired me to do this video. Her program is the Sanctuary model on which the Homewood Health Center Trauma Recovery Program is based. And she talked about recovery from collective trauma in some of her writing, and we are all trying to figure out how to deal with this collective trauma right now. She talked about how to manage emotions, how to stay safe in the world, how to think clearly, how to work through grief and plan for the future. Those are all big tasks, and it inspired me to come on and remind you of some of these things. So first, we're going to start with the Serenity Prayer, which is my favorite. Grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. That's a hard thing, to know the difference. So make a list. Make a line down the middle of your page on the left-hand side. Make a list of things I cannot change. That's what you have to accept. On the other side, the list of things that I can change. And that's where you need the courage to work on those things. So under the category of things you cannot change global pandemic. You cannot change coronavirus. You cannot change methods of transmission of the virus. All of those things we have to accept. And under the category of things we can change a lot about how we manage that. So first of all, to figure out how to be safe. How can we be safe? There's lots of ways. And to work on actively becoming more safe when you go out in your community, how you can keep others safe, because nobody knows. Sometimes you can have the virus and not have any symptoms. So we have to all be aware of our own safety and the safety of others. And for those of you who are not safe at home, I really want to encourage you to have a safety plan, to talk to your counselor about this. If you do not have a counselor, you can call any women's crisis line. They will help you to develop that safety plan. If you feel that's not, you don't have the bandwidth for that right now, you can do this on your own by doing research. And here's the website I would recommend from the Women's Center at Bruce, Gray, and Owen Sound Victim Services. You can Google that. Their safety plan is excellent, a checklist of all the things that are necessary. You don't have to wade through unnecessary information. Also, their phone number is toll-free 1-866-376-9852. So please work on a safety plan when you don't need it, so that when you need it, you will have it ready to follow through with. And a personal emergency safety plan, how to deal with overwhelming feelings, how to stay grounded using the 5-5-5 technique. You can look that up. It's one of my favorites. Breathing is so essential. Healthy breathing is so essential to feeling well and staying well. Managing anxiety, mindfulness strategies, mindfulness training. Our colleague Elizabeth Schramm is doing some mindfulness courses through Arrive Yoga. You can get in on that. It's online and accessible. The goal is to be where your body is. In this moment, be where your body is. Not 2 weeks down the road worrying, 2 years down the road worrying about what's going to happen, but managing today, right now, where you are. An important part of feeling safe is limiting your trauma exposure, and that means limiting news. I don't watch the news anymore because it requires too much of my brain to process the visual images. It's too hard for me. I can't do it. And so I'm reading my news online for maybe 5 or 10 minutes a day, getting the information I need to know and what is being asked of us, and that's it. Limiting trauma exposure. accessing support through your support system, reach out to your family and friends and ask for what you need help with. And part of that is a homeschooling challenge for a lot of people. Those of us who never wanted to be school teachers and who are now being asked to be a grade 7 school teacher or to teach French or any of these things that we don't know how to do, ask for help with that. And to be clear, to have realistic expectations of yourself. You're not going to learn how to be an amazing school teacher in the next week or the next month, especially if you're also trying to work full-time from home and also be a full-time homeschool teacher and run a home. And I can't even imagine it. The expectations are overwhelming and mind-boggling. So work on expecting yourself to manage just the best that you can with what you know today. And lastly, to remind you that this is a marathon situation. This is not a sprint. I have said this to my clients around parenting issues for many years. This is a commitment to raise a child, and it requires a marathon mentality. And recovery from this global pandemic is a marathon task, and it requires you to be careful about your energy, to be careful about your resources, to take in appropriate nutrition, stay hydrated, keep at a pace that you can manage, because you cannot sprint this process. So lots of things to think about there. And I'm just going to end this with a little quote from Sandra Bloom, which is this: healing requires beginning to hope for something better, and then working to make that hope come alive. And that's what we're all doing. That's what I'm wishing for you, that you have lots of hope today. And this is Catherine Wagner from the Wellness Collaborative. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.